Hello, this video will give faculty an overview of how to set up their course for Proctorio for using proctored exams in D2L. Proctorio is a digital proctoring system that students are able to use as they take an exam in D2L. It does require students to have a webcam, speakers, a government or school ID. They must also use the Chrome browser and must also download the Proctorio extension for the Chrome browser, but you'll see how to do that later. It does not require students to make an appointment because it is not live proctoring. Instead, Proctorio records the students as they take the exam in D2L. Instructors are then able to see flagged incidents within D2L. So now let's review the steps you would take to set up Proctorio in your course. The first step as the instructor is to go into your course and set up the exam as normal. So again, you just want to go to the exam, you want to add in the quiz questions, you want to make sure to put in a restriction date and time, to put in a time limit. You also want to make sure to connect it to an assessment so that it can be graded automatically. So you just want to make sure to set up the quiz as normal in that regard. Next, you want to pull in the Proctorio external learning tool. So the best way to do that is to go to your content area, to just go to the beginning module, the start here module, just the start here module or just a beginning module is fine. Then you want to go to existing activities, external learning tools, and then secure exam proctor. So now when you click on this link, it's going to prompt you to go through the different settings. So it's going to ask you to install Google Chrome. I'm on Firefox, so it's telling me to install Google Chrome or to go in through Google Chrome. And then it's going to ask me to install the Proctorio Chrome extension. So now that I'm in Chrome, I would simply choose Get the Chrome extension. It'll install it really quick. Just want to add that to Chrome. And now that that's been added, I'm ready to go with Proctorio. So now when I go to content, notice that that link is gone. It's mainly just for a setup the first time, but once you set it up with your Chrome browser and Chrome extension, it will actually just disappear. So now I'm able to go to my quizzes area, and I'm able to come to my quiz that I had just finished setting up. But notice there's going to be a new tab there. It will be Proctorio settings. So now I can go to the Proctorio settings and set up the rest of my quiz regarding what I want to do with Proctorio. So I want to make sure to enable Proctorio. And I'm going to come down here and choose what exam settings I would like. So in this case, during the proctored session with my students, I want to record their video. So I want to record their webcam. I want to record any audio that's happening. I want to record their screen. I can also choose to record any web traffic that will capture screenshots and URLs of any websites that they visit during the exam. So I can choose to do that if I want to. I can also choose to record the room to require them to do a room scan. If I choose to do that, notice I can choose them to not have the room recorded, to not have to do a room scan. I can choose to where they have to do the room scan before they begin the exam. Or I can have it to where if any suspicious activity happens, they will be prompted to do the room scan, maybe perhaps in the middle of the exam. So I can set which one I would like. So I'm just going to do it at the start of the scan. And then I can choose the lockdown options. So I want to force lock them into their screen. I can then choose to only have one screen, to not be able to open new tabs, to close tabs that are already open. I can also choose to disable printing to where they cannot print during the exam, disable clipboard to where they cannot copy and paste, disable downloads, clear their cache, disable right click, all of those things. Now, I would not select to avoid to block their pre-entry or re-entry, because if they happen to get out of their exam, say their Wi-Fi disconnects or something of that nature, you want to give them the ability to be able to reconnect to their exam. So I probably wouldn't choose that one. You can choose the verification options, so you can verify their video, verify their audio, make sure that those are working correctly. Those are good to have. Verify their desktop is being shown. You can also choose to verify ID, and that's going to require them to hold up an ID to the screen. It can be their Gordon ID or a government ID, and you can even choose to verify signature. I'm just going to do these four, however. Then you can choose to allow them to have in-quiz tools. So if you want them to be able to use the calculator, and you can choose what type of calculator, it will allow them to open that feature on their computer. So these are going to allow them to open features on their computer. This is just going to give you some information in terms of what bandwidth they have to complete the exams. I can also edit the Proctorio behavior settings. So I can choose what is just recommended by Proctorio, or I can actually choose my own. It's important if you want to allow the exam to be an open note exam, to allow students to have open links on their screen, open tabs, open windows, as well as to be able to look off their screen if maybe they're looking at papers or index cards or things that you've allowed for. You want to make sure under the Proctorio behavioral settings drop down that's below the exam settings, you want to make sure to mark it as open note. Then from here, you can choose what level of severity it for each metric. So navigating away, if you want to be very strict about not allowing them to navigate away, you want to move that into the red zone. If you want to be very strict about them not being able to copy and paste, so very strict with their head movements, so very strict with their audio levels. Now you might want to not make their audio levels too strict, because what happens if they have, the air conditioning on or a fan on or something like that. That might cause some feedback, so you might not want to make it as strict. Browser resizing, you might want to make strict. Multi-face, because there's no need for another person to be in the room. Leaving the room, all those things you can change and make them strict or less strict. And by doing that, it's going to change it into custom. So again, custom is going to be mainly if you're having a closed book exam versus if you're having an open note exam, you want to click that and then change the severity levels there. So open note or custom. Then under the exam metrics, this will compare their exam to other people who have taken the exam, in terms of how much they navigated away, how much they copied and pasted, mouse movements, scrolling, clicking, those type things. Again, a lot of these are just extra features, but this will tell you how did they click more than most other people did in the exam? Did they move the mouse more than other people in the exam? And that will help in determining abnormalities. With environmental abnormalities, you can look at audio levels, head movement, leaving the room, multi-face, those type things for them to be flagged. It'll also flag any technical abnormalities. So things like an expanded exam duration, start and end time. So if they were starting the exam way later than what most people, that if their starting exam did not match the LMS start time, if their end time did not match the LMS end time, which shouldn't happen in D2L because all of this is closed already, but you can have that to be detected into the Proctorio settings. And now what I can do is I can actually create this as a profile so that I don't have to continuously set this up every time that I go to make an exam. So I can create a new profile, and I might name it my profile and save it. And so now when I go to when I go to set Proctorio for other exams, I won't have to go through all of these settings again, selecting what I want. I'll just be able to choose this one and move forward. So I'll save and close with that. Notice that you will know that Proctorio is turned on for that exam because it will say remotely proctored in parentheses here. Now let's say I wanted to require Proctorio for another exam in this course. It'll just be as easy as going to your quizzes area, choosing to edit the exam, going to the Proctorio settings, enabling. And then instead of going through all the exam behaviors again, I can just choose my profile and save and close. And all of those that I just set up before, all those different features are auto saved here in my profile. So if I were to edit this, you'd be able to see all of the ones that I've already set up. So I'm going to save and close so I don't have to reset that up every single time. I've saved it as a default profile. And so now that one's remotely proctored. And so that's all you have to do to set up the exam to require Proctorio for student testing. In order to take the quiz using Proctorio, the student will first need to log into their D2L course. Now, when they go to take the exam by going to quizzes and choosing on the name of the exam, which will have remotely proctored beside it, if they do not have the Chrome extension set up or if they're not using Google Chrome, they will see a message. Notice that the exam is calling for a password. So if the student sees this, then that is a telltale sign that they're not using Google Chrome and or the extension. So in this case, I am in Google Chrome, but I have not downloaded the Chrome extension. So in order to do that as a student, I need to go to the content area. And just like with the faculty member, I need to go to the area where we have placed the external learning tool for us to be able to download that Chrome extension. So for me, I put it in the content area in the syllabus module or the Start Here module. So I'll come down, I'll choose Secure Exam Proctor. And then it's going to notify me if I'm using Google Chrome, which I am, and then I'm going to be prompted to install the Proctorio Chrome extension. So I just choose Get Proctorio and install it. I won't have to do this again. I only have to do it the first time that I use Proctorio on my computer. So once I install that extension, I'll just choose to add it to Chrome. And then I'll be able to take my exam as normal. But again, the telltale sign is that it is requiring a password, which is a sign that the extension is not in place. So now that the extension is in place, when I go to quizzes and I click on the name of the quiz, notice I will not see the area for me to add in a password. I'm able to just start the quiz. So I'll choose Start Quiz. And then it's going to give me some information about the testing environment. So it's going to tell me what I can and cannot do during the exam. It's also going to tell me any error messages that I might have in regards to it. Might say something about having an extra window open that I need to close, having music playing in the background that I need to close, anything in that regard. So in this case, it's telling me that my CPU processing power is low, but it's not, I can still be able to take the exam. So I'll start the exam pre-checks. It's going to check my webcam, my microphone, my connection, and my desktop. So again, in this case, I'm just going to follow through the prompts. I'm going to allow it to use my camera. I'm then also going to allow it to use my microphone. It's going to check my connection as well as my desktop. Then it's going to allow me to share my screen. So I just want to click this and choose share. And then now I'm about to begin my exam. So notice it's going to tell me that I need to use the restroom, get water, do all of that kind of stuff before I begin my exam. I also want to make sure that my image is right in the middle of the camera. Then I'm going to choose next. Then I'm going to choose to show my identification card. So I have my Gordon ID card. So I'm just going to hold it up to the camera, try to get it as much as you can in between the green lines. And then click here to scan it. All right. Now it's going to test my webcam. So I just want to make sure that I am seeing my camera. So if I'm able to see the images of myself, then I'm good to go. Now I'm doing the room scan. And what I'm going to be asked to do here is just scan the room to make sure that there isn't any materials or any other people in the room that I shouldn't have available during my exam. So after all of this, they're able to see my webcam and all of this information. I may begin the exam now. So it's going to take me into my exam as normal. It's going to load my exam. And then I just want to take my exam as normal. Notice that here in the top corner are the quizzes tools area. You just want to leave this information alone. You just want to leave it as is at this point. You don't want to really change any of these tools. You can choose to hide your video if you really just don't want to see yourself while you're testing. You can hide your video if you want to. But just leave this quizzing area alone. And then now, as normal, I want to start my room scan. So I'm just going to start my scan. And I'm just going to scan my room to show what's going on. Then choose done. And then now I'm able to take my exam. So I just simply click on the exam as normal, answering all of the questions. Again, leaving this alone as much as you can. Once you submit your exam, you'll notice that the webcam goes away as well as the screen sharing piece goes away. So at this point, we are finished with our exam, and so we're able to choose done and then continue on with completing our online course. After the students have completed the exam using Proctorio, you as the teacher will be able to view their video recordings. To do so, make sure that you're in Google Chrome. All of this is going to have to work through the Google Chrome browser. And go to Quizzes. And then choose the drop down by the name of the quiz. And then choose View Proctorio Gradebook. From there, you'll see a listing of all the students who have taken the quiz, and they will be sorted by suspicion level. So those that have the most suspicious activity will be listed first. So it'll have the name of the student when they completed their exam, as well as the percentage of their suspicion level. Now, you can change their suspicion level based upon how strict or severe you want to be. So to do that, you can go to Proctoral Settings, and you can look at it was set on custom. I can make it more lenient, more moderate, or change these as needed. So if I make it more lenient, notice that it will change to 17%. If I come and make it moderate, then it will change the 36%. If I leave it on my custom settings, then it'll move to whatever percentage as well. So you can also come down here and move these based upon what you really want to look at. I want to make sure they weren't navigating away, making sure their head and eye movement, making sure all of these different metrics there. So you can adjust these as necessary. So looking here, we'll click on this to open up more information. And we're able to watch the video here, so we're able to see the entire video by playing it here. But it's a little bit easier to look through using the timeline here. So this timeline is the length of the exam. The things that are in the snippets that are in green are good to go. They're fine. The ones that you're going to want to look at are the ones that are in yellow or in red, because those are the ones that are the most suspicious. So you can move your mouse to play these different areas, and you can actually look at specific frames as well. You're able to click on those to see what is happening at that point in the exam. The bars that are the highest are the ones that are the most suspicious. So if we start to play here, notice it was marked because I looked out of the main camera. I looked away from the webcam. So it's showing my webcam. It's also showing my screen at what I was looking at. So again, here you would be able to see my suspicion level was increased because I looked away from the camera at that time. So you're able to see all those different components, the video cam as well as the screen. You can also use these arrows on, or these icons on the side, to look at different things. So if I choose this, I'll be able to see the incident log. So here I'm able to see when the recording became available, when maybe here the levels in the room, the audio levels increased. So maybe someone was talking at that point, or maybe someone came in the room. So you're able to see notations there. This third icon lets you see the screen in the webcam. And then here you're actually able to add your own annotations if you like, so your own little comments. So looked away from camera. So I'm able to add my own annotations on the time log there if I wanted to. Lastly, I can choose this last icon to generate a PDF to be able to generate one big PDF of all this different information. Scrolling down below, it tells me that I submitted the exam within the time frame, so that's fine. It also gives me some information about my computer performance. So it tells me about my internet performance, my screen resolution, my video quality, what type of computer I was on, all of that information that might help when troubleshooting your exam. Also notice here it tells me that this student opened 0 other websites during the exam and that there were no abnormalities. So that's how you can view the information for your Proctorio gradebook. And again, you can just minimize this and you'll be able to go to the next student on the list to be able to view their suspicion level. And that's how you use Proctorio.